Hello people on my profiles across Facebook and Instagram. This is my first Instagram live stream, so we'll see how this one goes as well. If you're not following me on Instagram, I highly suggest that you do, obviously. So I want to share this week something that we were testing with a client on their ad campaign, and the one change in the headline ended up doing really well. And it goes against conventional internet marketing practices and against the conventional typical campaigns when it comes to copywriting and advertising. And the principle is to be conscious of where your prospects actually are and to meet your prospects where they are today. So if we look at campaigning online, if you're doing advertising or email campaigns, my man D'Artagnan is online giving me props. Thank you very much, sir. If you have a look where your prospects are today and the results that they want to achieve, there usually happens to be a series of events that has to happen before they can achieve that result. And when we're campaigning, when we're doing advertising or email campaigns, we tend to only specify the end result because that's the most appealing component of the service or the product that we provide to our prospects and to our clients, and it makes perfect sense, right? Everyone wants to know about the dream outcome. What's a dream result that you can help out those prospects with, and what's your process for that? So going to my client's campaign that we were trying out this week, we were getting really good traction and the ads were doing well, the emails were doing really well, and then I figured to try out a very old school principle, which is to be conscious of where your prospects are and meet your prospects where they actually are today. So the headline which we were using for this client in their emails and in their advertising was something along the lines of how to earn an extra $4,000 per month. Now, I won't specify the industry or their product or anything like that, but generally that was the headline. It was framed around how to earn an extra $4,000 per month through their product or through their service. Now, when you're advertising and you have your email campaigns, your usual direction or your hook point is framed around the income, right? How to earn X in the next 30 days. So, and that was performing quite well. However, I then made a small little tweak in the ad copy, in the landing pages and in the emails, and saw a dramatic increase, over 300% response in the emails, and the cost per lead dropped 300%. Pretty much the whole campaign just was elevated for this single tweak, and that was changing the headline from $4,000 per month down to $920 per month. So the promise shrunk and the conversions increased, which is quite an interesting principle, and it's not anything new. So we downplay the promise of the product. As opposed to earning $4,000 per month, we downplay it to only an extra $920 per month, and we got a higher response rate. Now, why is that? Why is that promising a generally smaller outcome to your client or to your prospect? Why would that convert more? Well, the reason is because we're meeting the prospects where they are. Because this industry is a new industry and the prospects are brand new, they're at the beginning of their journey. For that type of prospect, for this client to see themselves earning an extra $4,000 per month seems way too far out of reach. So we adjusted the campaign, we changed the advert copy, the emails, everything to talk about a smaller outcome, about only earning an extra $920 per month as opposed to an extra $4,000 per month. And the result was a much more believable outcome that really elevated the whole campaign quite quickly. And I think in our industry of internet marketing and the general how-to industry, it can be overplayed, whereby we think about the larger the promise, the more impact we'll have in our advertising and email marketing. And while this generally is true to a certain degree, it can sometimes scare off prospects because they might not feel like it is a believable outcome yet. So you have to be conscious of where your prospects are and meet your prospects where they actually are today. So what is the next process in their journey? What can they think that they can achieve? And when you can blend a mixture of your product and the outcome that it can achieve for the prospect and what the prospect feels like they can achieve, what is actually attainable for them, then you have a really powerful campaign. Because most times prospects know that our products are generally good. That's what we like to convey in our advertising, email campaigns, SEO, and all of that. However, the problem isn't usually our product, it's usually the self-belief in the prospect. Because if you're honest to yourself, this probably isn't the first time that your prospect has tried to achieve the outcome. They probably aren't brand new to your industry. They've probably been looking for a service like yours and probably have even tried other services before and have been upset with the result. And to some degree, it's not always the product's fault. Sometimes it's the prospect not being able to execute it properly, or the prospect just not being conscious of the amount of energy it takes to use your product to get the results. So when we are honest and we downplay the results that our product or service can achieve to our prospect, it seems more believable to them, right? You've got to meet your prospects where they are. A great example, as I was talking about previously with my client's campaign that we adjusted this week, was it begun at the beginning of the campaign promising to teach their prospects how to earn an extra $4,000 per month for their product or through their service. Now, once again, I won't actually specify the industry or the details of the campaign, but generally that's the overarching principle, is how to earn an extra $4,000 per month. And the response rate was pretty good. However, we then changed the campaign to go from how to earn an extra $4,000 per month to now be angled from how to earn an extra $920 per month. And the outcome and the response of the general advertising and email marketing was huge. We got a much higher conversion rate. We're talking about a much more believable outcome, even though it's not as impressive and not as enticing, it's more believable. And the outcome is that if the prospects believe the outcome, if they believe that you can help them to achieve the outcome, and if they believe that they are the right person to get the outcome, then your conversion rate will be a lot higher. So when you go into your next advertising campaign or your email campaign or anything like that, ask yourself, is this outcome believable for my product and service? Usually the answer is yes. The next question is, would my prospect believe that my product or service can help them to achieve that outcome? Now, this can usually be counteracted through testimonials, social proof, guarantees, all of that. Most people can answer that question with yes. The third is this prospect, do they believe that they are the right type of person to achieve the outcome? Now, that one could be questionable because results aren't typical, right? So when you angle your campaigns from typical results, yes, the headline, the copywriting, and the advertising isn't as impressive. However, you attract more of a grounded prospect, someone who knows that this is a typical result, and someone that probably is more geared towards actually achieving the outcome. So they'll get a higher response rate from your campaign, and you'll just see overall conversions and less refunds. Because if you begin your campaigns from such a high headline promise, yes, you attract a lot of traffic and get a lot of attention. However, at the end of it, you might not get a lot of conversion. So try dropping your promise, try shrinking your claim, try reducing the promised outcome that your product or service delivers to the prospect or to the client, and you might find you might get a higher response rate. As I said before, our clients saw a 300% increase in leads and a cost per lead dropped by 60%. So the whole campaign did very well by simply shrinking the promise and shrinking the claim. Prime example again is in the health industry, right? If you are a personal trainer and you're promising this amazing outcome of, getting ripped and getting shredded and having an 8-pack, and you're advertising to people who are obese, does the obese person think they can achieve that? Do they think they can get an 8-pack? Yes, they might want the outcome, but are they going to think to themselves, you know what, I think I can achieve that. I think this personal trainer can help me to get to that result. Probably not. So if you're a personal trainer and you're advertising in that space, look at the next tangible outcome. What is the next thing that they have to achieve, and begin marketing from that angle, right? Begin from where your prospects actually are as opposed to where they want to be, because the result and the copy and the headline and the email campaigns will be more enticing and more believable. So that is all of these principles come from being conscious of 3 primary things. The first is being aware of what outcome your prospect wants to achieve. We all generally know that as entrepreneurs. We know the outcome or the solution that we can deliver to our prospects. That's very clear and very obvious. The next is where they are in their journey, right? What process are they up to in their journey? Are they brand new to the outcome, or are they at the very end and they just need that little push over their line? Because those are different types of prospects who need different types of attention and campaigns and headlines and copy and all of that. So when you are conscious of the reason why the prospect wants to achieve the outcome and where they are at in their journey, then you're able to craft really good communication hooks through emails or through advertising that ultimately converts at a higher rate because you're not so hypey. You're actually meeting the prospect where they are. So that was a interesting principle that I haven't used for a long time. It's a very old school copywriting principle, which is just being conscious of where your prospects actually are and communicating the next step in the process to them. So just to recap where all of this came from, we were doing a advertising and an email campaign for one of our clients here, and the campaign was framed around how to earn an extra $4,000 per month, which is a fantastic outcome to claim, right? And it's a very attractive headline. However, we found that when we shrunk that outcome down to earning an extra $920 per month through my client's product and service, the response rate was 300% more. They got leads cheaper and more of the leads, right? And the reason behind that was just because the outcome was more believable. The prospect believes the outcome because it's not so hypey, and the prospect believes that they can achieve that outcome because it's the next process in their journey. So just ensure that when you are doing advertising, email marketing, content marketing, that you're talking to the outcome that the prospect wants to achieve. And of course, being conscious of where the prospect actually is in their journey. Because if your outcome is 2 years down the track for that prospect, then they're probably not going to convert immediately because they're not ready yet. Right? You need to have campaigns that communicate to prospects who are ready. The next process in the journey, okay? So you just need to be conscious of that. So that was an interesting principle that I walked a client's campaign through, and it worked quite well. And in some cases, depending on your industry, if you're not promising enough on the front end, then you're not going to generate the traction or the attraction of your prospects to even have the opportunity to close them. So yes, use your huge headline claims, use your huge overarching promises, see how that performs. If it's not increasing, if you can't optimize the campaign overly too well, then maybe shrink your outcome. Look at shrinking your promise to something more believable. And I think if you take that approach, you'll see a higher response rate, because again, prospects have to believe the outcome that you can provide to them, and they need to have self-belief that it's possible for them to actually achieve the outcome. Otherwise, they'll think you. Otherwise, you'll have the issue of prospects coming to you and telling you, well, your product looks amazing, you've got great proof, but it's not going to work for me. And the whole comment of it's not going to work for me is that self-belief in the prospect. In being conscious that they're not the type of person to achieve the outcome, that your promise of your product or your service is too far detached from where the prospect actually is today. So that's my little sharing of how to shrink your overarching promise, claim, or headline through your marketing campaigns to actually meet your prospects where they are. And I think it's not a topic that gets talked about a lot, because everyone likes to talk about how to generate really powerful headlines that attract me because the promise is so large and so grand. And while having a grand promise and a grand outcome is good and common sense in the internet marketing space, if your outcome is too far detached from the prospect's reality and they don't think that they can achieve it, then your campaign is going to hit a wall very, very quickly. So next campaign you guys launch out, try shrinking the outcome. Try halving it. I think we did a quarter of our outcome promise in the headline and the copywriting, and we saw a 300% increase in leads generated and a third of the cost per lead acquisition price as well. So that's it from me here in Adelaide. I hope you guys have enjoyed this live stream. Of course, if you have any questions or topics or anything you want to get an insight about in terms of my agency or my companies, or you have questions, feel free to throw them across and I'm more than happy to help out. So thank you for tuning in on Facebook and Instagram, just to give you guys a bit of behind the scenes look of each platform. I'm doing Facebook and Instagram. If you're not following me on Facebook yet, on Instagram yet, be sure to do so. We have about 15,000 people on my account, which is quite cool. So yeah, hop over there as well. And if you're on Instagram, hop over to Facebook and connect with me personally. Always happy and pleased to meet new people in our industry. So that's it from me, and that's how you can increase your sales by downplaying the result and meeting your prospects where they actually are. Until next time.